What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number, Brody, help me out.
189.
189. I'm Jeff James. With me, as always, the incredible and obtainable luscious Brody Fultz. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic myself. Ladies and gentlemen, each week, Brody and I get on the interwebs, and we're either met with or have some great friends on the show, or it's just us, which is also fantastic and great all in itself. And we discuss and nerd out on video games. Everything from reviews to cool new things happening in terms of video game news. And also, sometimes, we just shoot the shit, which is always entertaining and comedic because we talk about really dumb stuff. But hey, people like that. So hey, whatever, you know, right? But anyways, guys, thanks so much for listening. If it's your first time listening, please hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on YouTube or on one of the awesome podcast applications out there like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, which we're actually pretty large on in terms of viewership from CastBox, like percentage-wise. It's kind of crazy. Hit the little subscribe button, get notified when we get new episodes. We have new episodes every single Friday morning at the butt crack of early dawn, and you can catch us live on the old YouTubes Thursday evenings when we record our show. Typically, it might change here and there on some shows, but we'll give you notice by following us on Instagram and Twitter. Ooh, you like that segue?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. At Diggity Podcast, that's right, on Instagram and Twitter. Get those sweet, sweet, sweet nudes dropped right into your social media. Just joking.
Boy, I've been running socials wrong for a while now.
Yeah, there you go, dude. That's what the people want. Anyways, with that, interesting show this week. So we're going to talk about, we've had the PS5 for a good amount of period of time. What seems like a great amount of time, seeing as nobody can get these damn things anywhere. And we've also played a lot of games on this thing. So we're going to give some reviews on the games. We're going to kind of give some pain points. How did you word it in the show notes here, Brody? What was your sweet term?
What was it? Plagues and pains.
Wow. You can almost
look
see
at
like
that
roll by like a cheesy news title or a late show title. So we're going to give our pains on what we don't like so far with the PS5, and that'll be a quick segment, but it'll be mainly just about what games are coming out, because there's a crap ton of games coming out, and I guess, you know, do we want to actually, PSA first, too. December 10th, we will be live on YouTube watching the Game Awards, so come watch the Game Awards with us online, and we can watch Geoff Keighley kill it from Probably Area 51. I mean, I think the guy's a fucking alien. I mean, I'm just going to go out and say it. I don't think he's human. He's in too many things.
They're probably going to announce the next Xbox too, like the Xbox Series Z or whatever that one's going to be called.
Oh my God. Something like that.
Good God.
Supposedly, big Nintendo announcement is the rumor.
Yeah. You actually have to pay a lot of attention to Game Awards anymore because they make some really big announcements during it. It's wild.
Way to go, Geoff Keighley.
Atta
for making
boy.
something successful. Asshole.
All right.
Do we want
so
to,
we actually have some normal news this week, which is
yeah.
not a ton, but a little bit. So it's
bit.
going to be kind of a return to form for Diggity here. It's been a while. It feels like it's been forever since we had a normal episode. But yeah, we'll start off with some upcoming game releases. So December 4th, Commandos 2 HD Remastered is coming to Switch. Dark Complete Edition is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One. Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition is coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. FIFA 21 is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise is coming to Switch. John Wick Hex is coming to Xbox One and Switch. Madden 21 is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. Suzerain is coming to PC. December 8th, Call of Duty Warzone Season 7 begins on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Call of the Sea is coming to PC, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One. Oh, man, this is getting harder as we continue to add consoles to this.
Not getting easy.
Destiny 2 is coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Doom Eternal is coming to Switch. Planet Zoo Aquatic Pack DLC is coming to PC. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is coming to Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Right, The Eye of Atlantis is coming to PC VR. Shakes on a Plane is coming to PC and Switch. That's awesome.
We gotta get these motherfucking shakes off this motherfucking plane.
Swords of Gargantuan is coming to PSVR. Temtem is coming to PS5.
Yeah.
December 9th, Minecraft Dungeons Howling Peaks DLC launches on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Wood Salt is coming to PC and Switch. And December 10th, Animal Farm is coming to PC. Brigandine is coming to, The Legend of Runersia is coming to PS4.
Runersia, I think.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia.
I don't believe it.
Oh, man, if they delay it within a week of release, there will be pitchforks and torches everywhere. Haven is coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One. And Sword of the Necromancer is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Holy hell.
I just want to give credit where credit's due, because people don't see the show notes, but there are a shit ton of acronyms after all of these games. I mean, there's XSX, PC, XBO, let me see, and then PS5, PSVR, VR, PC.
I paused a little bit at the PS5 and Xbox Series X because I haven't had to read any of our normal show notes since we've done this, so it was it was a little off-putting to see that, but yeah. That's holy hell, there's a lot coming out. There's some good stuff coming out. Hopefully Cyberpunk is coming out. Oh, and also I want to touch on this for a brief second. Doom Eternal is coming to Switch, and that absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah, well,
it's insane that they're able to get that game running. Because it ran like ass on my Xbox One, so
well, maybe it's really dumbed down. Who knows?
I would imagine it has to be.
I mean, it's
good stuff.
It's pretty crazy. So, moving on from that, we've got our Xbox games with gold for December. Get ready. Xbox One games. You're going to be getting the Raven Remastered. You can claim that from December 1st to the 31st. And then Bleed 2. You can get that December 16th to January 15th is when you have to claim that. Then you've got the backwards compatibility games. I almost said BC games. It's like riding a bike again, baby. You get Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell. December 1st to the 15th is when you need to claim that. And Stacking, December 16th to the 31st. You have to claim that for those dates. So, not going to lie, and I'm going to be a little bit of a PlayStation fanboy just because we have them now, and I have to be there and play along, but
got to play that game, man.
Seems a little bit better, I mean, at least we get a PS5 game,
And speaking of PlayStation Plus games for December, Just Cause 4, Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble. And I've actually heard that Worms Rumble has adaptive triggers.
I have downloaded it. I have not played it yet. We should play that. We should get
that.
We should dabble in this weekend a little bit.
Absolutely. I love Worms. That's fantastic. Yeah. I haven't played those games in forever. And adaptive triggers, man.
Yeah. And moving on with more PlayStation news. So PlayStation Now games, some were added for December. So you got Horizon Zero Dawn, Stranded Deep, and Broforce are all additions to PlayStation Now. So I think this is something that we'll continue to see with some bigger games coming for PlayStation Now. I mean, obviously they need to compete and beat Game Pass, right? So they need to get up there.
And Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, was added last year around this time, and then it was only there for like 3 months or so. So it's great to see it come back.
And on top of that, they kind of need to let people know what PlayStation Now is.
Their marketing needs to be a lot better for PlayStation Now.
Yeah. I mean, people have no idea that it exists.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a little odd, but also coming soon to Xbox Game Pass, and this gets really confusing as well. So some of these games are already on the console version or the PC version, but now they're being added to the Android version of xCloud Game Pass. So buckle in, folks. Here we go. Android is getting Rage 2. Android and console are getting Control, Monster Sanctuary, Gang Beast, Assetto Corsa, Super Hot Mind Control Delete, and Slime Rancher. The fact that you can play Control on your phone is absolutely incredible to me. Android console and PC releases are Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, Yes, Your Grace, Greedfall, and Call of the Sea. I do want to try out Greedfall. I've seen this, and it was a game I almost bought a couple different times, and I kind of held off, so I do want to give that a go. Coming to just console and PC, you can get Haven, Unto the End, and Dragon Quest 11S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. We couldn't come up with a better name for this. It's killing me. And then coming to PC, Doom Eternal, Valhalla, not the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but Valhalla nonetheless.
In somewhat of elite speak.
Yeah. And also Starbound. So that's a pretty decent amount of games that are releasing on various different ways of play. And the fact that we now have to include Android into this is just a pain in the ass.
I mean,
just being
Microsoft
really honest.
way, baby. Microsoft way. Communication last. Communication first. Hey, Brody, do you like your Nintendo Switch?
I do like my Nintendo Switch a lot.
Guess what, my guy? The Nintendo Switch just got a new update, 11.0.0. So, it's just a bunch of quality of life improvements, but it's missing things that we would like that we can discuss after I pull out all the features of this. So, you get Nintendo Switch Online was added to the home menu. God bless.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
You don't have to go into the store anymore for that. So that's good.
So you can access all the NSO services easier that way. A backed up save data will automatically download to other systems from the cloud, but must be enabled by going into System Settings, Data Management, Save Data Cloud. So
that's cool.
You got to go through the back end. But again, so if you want that, you have to enable it by going into System Settings, then Data Management, then Save Data, and select Cloud.
When I got my Switch Lite and had to transfer all my save data, I had to transfer each individual game separately, and it was a giant pain. So this is fantastic and way better.
You got a new trending feature. Was added to the user page. Ooh. See what's trending among your friends.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Everyone's playing Animal Crossing. Screenshots and videos can now be transferred from their album to their smart devices. So you can do a maximum of 10 screenshots and one video at a time. Smart devices will be connected by scanning a QR code on the Switch.
So that's cool.
That's cool.
I mean,
you just take the
it's
Switch
a lot
Online
of
app and you just go beep and you send the shit to you and great.
Who would have thought that it would be easier to transfer videos and screenshots to your phone from a Nintendo console versus PlayStation? Because it's still a nightmare to try to transfer all that from PlayStation. You have to basically send it as a message to yourself or create a fake Twitter account and send it to that.
And then probably get banned because I think you're like a Russian bot or something like that.
Right.
Then you got a new copy to a computer via USB connection was added in data management screen. So you can move screenshots and video easily to your computer as well. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, a USB-C cable is what you're going to need, at least the end connection to the Nintendo Switch. Users can also now prioritize a certain download when multiple downloads are in progress. That's great. That's great quality of life. 12 new user icons were added to commemorate the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Brothers. So that's cool. Users can now name preset button mappings. And Brazilian and Portuguese was added to as a supported language within the operating system, in the OS itself. And several issues were fixed, quote, and usability and stability were improved, quote. Still no themes.
9 times out of 10, that is the only thing written in their patch notes. So it's refreshing to at least
bug fixes.
It's refreshing to see something else in there. There's some good stuff here, some stuff that was absolutely mind-boggling that it hasn't been there for the past 3.5 years. But here we are.
God, I can't believe it's been 3.5 years with the Switch.
3.5 years.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. 1 year of that is 2020, and I've hated it.
I've hated it.
Moving on. No, seriously though, is there something here that you really wanted to see other than themes? I mean, we've bashed that so many times. Like, come on, put them in there. They make a fortune.
Really, I think a lot of what they have going on right now is actually pretty good. Like I said, the save data was a huge thing. Like being able to automatically transfer all that just makes it so much easier because, like I said, it was a nightmare transferring all that. It was a couple hour process of transferring stuff one by one, downloading all my new games. Like setting up my new Switch was just, it was worth it, but it was also more of a pain than it should have been. Mm-hmm. So,
I'd like to see themes, and more importantly, I'd like to see you be able to change the preset of the home screen. So like if you have a ton of games, instead of doing like the one row that goes across or whatever,
just your most recently played stuff.
Yeah, you can do like, a whole grid and a bunch of other stuff, and like you can segment it differently. So it's like it has your most recents on the left and then has all your games on the right, something like that.
Kind of like the 3DS.
Yeah,
all the styles.
Really, almost like smartphone style, right? Where it's like iPhone or Android, where it's just grid, and you just go in and think. I think it's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, I like that. That'd be fine by me for sure. Cyberpunk is actually going to release next week, supposedly. I won't believe it until I'm playing that game.
So it's in my
customizing
hands.
My cybernetic genitalia. It's a feature.
IGN,
it's something you can do.
IGN, gave a review on it, and I was watching it was hilarious. It was one of the most awkward things ever too, because I said I'm going to be buying this game.
Yeah.
And the guy starts talking about it, and she's like, or there's like three of them on the call. It's like a Sunday morning. I don't know what the show is, but it's on IGN, and they're chatting, and she's like, I've got to ask. She's like, how are the sex scenes? Review them. And the wife turns to me and she's like, there's sex scenes you have sex in the game? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red,
Robot
man.
Sex. And so I guess the guy reviewed him and he said it was far more detailed than The Witcher 3.
Oh, boy.
Like, far more detailed.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So there's that.
But on that note, so CD Projekt Red put out a tweet that had a map, and it was in this yellow that is just haunting to see, because every time it's this big yellow announcement, you're like, it's delayed. It's fucking delayed. Again, here we go. But no, this was actually a map of all the release times and preload times. So first off, on consoles, the game will be available at midnight local time, and preload is available now on Xbox. Preload for PlayStation will not be until the 8th, which is 2 days before the game launches, which is ample enough time for me to get that downloaded. It's fine.
Yeah.
For PC, preload on GOG. Yeah, GOG. Starts on December 7th at 12 p.m. CET, which I meant to convert all that over to like Eastern time, and I totally forgot. So that's like the world standard Central time right there.
Yeah.
Preload on Steam and the Epic Store is on December 7th at 5 p.m. CET as well. You're going to have to convert that yourself. I am so sorry. Release on both GOG, Steam, and the Epic Store. And I'm just going to go ahead and list U.S. times, our major U.S. times here. So 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you're looking for a different time zone, if you're one of our listeners across that little pond,
you're
going to have to look it up.
Google.
Yeah, you're going to have to either Google it or look it up on Twitter, because there was far too many for us to list here.
Out of our complete national ignorance, Google it.
I am so sorry.
Just Google it.
Yeah, but the majority of our listeners are in the States. I would assume so at this point. I mean, if there's no way they delay it within a week.
I'm going to ask it. Bugs?
They already actually put out a statement saying there will be bugs at launch.
Okay.
So they're getting it in front of that, which I'm not. I mean, if for anyone to expect this to be a completely bugless release is out of their minds, because it is a large open world.
There better not be bugs when I'm sculpting my genitalia.
As long as it's playable, I will be content, and I am very excited for this game. But I'm still like in this weird state of disbelief that it's actually going to launch. It's been delayed so many times. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, December 10th, it's right around the corner, but it's not going to actually happen. I'm not actually going to get to play this game, but here we are.
So yeah. The second question is, does it live up to the hype within the first 2 days?
That one is where I am concerned, because I think this game has been hyped to the point that almost like Half-Life 3 levels of hype, to where I don't know if it's possible. Yeah. But I mean, you see, like Red Dead 2 lived up to the hype that was around it. So it's very possible that they deliver on this. And I mean, they've given themselves time to work on it, even past when we were going to see it. So I really hope that it does for I mean, gamers' sake and CD Projekt Red's sake, because good God, if this game doesn't live up to the hype, people will be very angry. And I mean, it's unreasonable, but it's going to be the way it goes. So hopefully this game is as good as we all hope it is.
New online update too for Red Dead Online.
Yeah, it also added a you can buy just the online mode, which is the weakest part of that game. So
what's the
there's
price?
that.
I didn't see that. It was like $19. Like
I saw it was like $5, but I don't remember where it was $5 at. I think it was on PC, but yeah, that's an option too. But yeah, I am really excited for Cyberpunk, and like I said, I'm still kind of in this state of disbelief. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and pre-order that and get that bad boy downloaded on PlayStation and get it ready to rock and roll.
Here's another question for Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
Do we fully know what the game's like?
There's been a lot of gameplay videos and things like that, but I've actually stayed away from it because I don't want to know too much about it. I want to go in relatively blind. So I'm content with that. I know a lot of people have been watching everything they put out, every video, every what did they call it? Night City Live thing that they would do. But I've pretty much steered entirely clear of it. That's kind of why we haven't been reporting on any of that. And on top of that, it just felt like it was endless, so we just didn't really do that. But yeah, I'm excited to go in blind and kind of see what's going on. The big thing is the shooting. Like, if the shooting doesn't feel good, this game is going to be pretty rough. Whereas The Witcher 3, I mean, the combat was kind of goofy, but it still was bearable. But I mean, bad shooting can absolutely tank a good game.
So, speaking of video games, apparently on Twitter, what's trending is Anthem and Kratos Fortnite. And someone's
we were talking about that
Kratos
briefly.
Dancing.
Yeah, we were talking about Kratos being added into Fortnite briefly before the show here, and that's wild to me because that is, I mean, Fortnite's main demographic is generally younger kids to like, I don't know, preteen, middle teens. I don't know.
Will you log in yourself to get Kratos?
I have not.
Will you do it though?
I will, because
congratulations. They made exactly what they wanted to happen.
I have to tip my hat to them, because they actually do put out some really cool skins and things, and they know how to get people to spend money. 100%. I mean, that whole season was all Marvel this last season, and then they had Mandalorian in the battle pass for this season, and then they have Kratos. I mean, the only reason I even play Fortnite is because my kids play Fortnite, so I get drug into it quite often. And then, so I mean, I might as well be Kratos while I'm playing Fortnite, I guess.
So, heads up too, if you're on PS5 and you're playing Fortnite, when you play a match on your PS5 after purchasing the Kratos outfit, you'll unlock the armored Kratos style, where he's wearing like, you know, all of his gold.
Oh, nice.
Sweet armor and stuff like that, just on PS5. So there's that. But yeah, it's weird. It is
weird.
I mean, they've got him doing all the weird dance moves, and it's, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, it is kind of uncomfortable. But that game, I mean, for the event they had at the end of last season, it hit a record number of people playing it and watching it live. It was 15 million people logged in and watching this event as it was happening. It's insane.
It's crazy, dude. That's nuts.
Like, that game, it just has it's never going to die. I'm convinced it will live forever.
It'll live on for a very long time. Yes, absolutely.
It will.
It's available everywhere too. So, moving on, So kind of the feature part of this episode of kind of what we want to discuss. I'll start off with Cold War, and you're going to chime in on multiplayer, but I'll talk about campaign first. So this is my Cold War review. I played on PS5. I have beat the campaign. I've done the multiple endings in the campaign as well.
Look at you.
I'll keep it spoiler free. And I'll kind of just talk because it's still so new, right, for a lot of people out there. Yeah. And they were waiting on it with the PS5.
And I haven't touched the campaign yet either, so don't spoil that for me.
I don't want to ruin your day. So first off, the campaign. I'm going to compare it with Modern Warfare and like which one I enjoyed more. I think I enjoyed Modern Warfare more in total. I think there was some new stuff that was done in this campaign that shows a pretty bright future for further Call of Duty campaigns, but there was some stuff that just took away from action, and I think that's primarily what people want in the campaign. And even though like I know a lot of gameplay that we were shown and a lot of stuff that we were shown was primarily just action based, and there is, don't get me wrong, a lot of action in the campaign, there's just a part where it really starts to feel it feels like it's not a standard Call of Duty campaign. And I thought that I was, when I first started, I was like, oh, this is cool, but it kind of stretched out a little bit too long. And
there's a lot of stealth, isn't there? From what I've heard. So
there's a good amount of stealth overall in the campaign. There's specifically a part in the campaign where there's stealth and an investigation aspect, like a detective aspect.
Oh, okay.
And making moves stealthily and things happen stealthily to change, where people are and where they're moving so that you can get to certain information or certain clues or to like a certain room. And at first I was thinking, cool, this is going to result in, like 5 minutes of doing this, right? And then it's going to turn into like some big battle. There's a big battle at the end of that specific part of the campaign, but there's like a solid 20 minutes of like ripping around stealthily, and if you're on a good difficulty, it's a pain in the ass, like straight up. So overall, though, I really enjoyed the story. You don't really care too much about the story I'd say from the first go to like 70% of the way. The last 30% is where it starts to actually grab you, and the ending is specifically where it grabs you because obviously there's multiple endings. So I had, it's a game that maybe go back and try out different, multiple scenarios towards the end, and you can go back and play your missions and stuff like that and easily jump back in. And obviously, on PS5, it's super easy to load into them. It's pretty quick. So I really enjoyed that aspect because I did my first playthrough. Then I went back and did the missions to try and get like the other ending. And I thought I would have known the ending, and then I was like, "Holy crap!" It was like complete 180 on everything. It was kind of crazy. Very cinematic-y in the ending part of the game, like a lot. Like there's like the last mission or whatever, you've got, dude, probably close to like damn near 15 minutes of cinematics throughout the entire thing.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of movie aspect part to the end of it, which is okay, but some of it you're kind of like, let me do some of this,
right?
And then throughout the game too, characters are cool. Adler is like your main, one of the main dudes in it. I think everybody at this point knows, you're a CIA operative. There's a twist in the story. And that's the biggest part. That's why I'm saying like probably honestly not 70, like 80% of the way through. And then the last 20%, you're just like, what? Holy crap. And like, you're totally grabbed by it. So the characters are really cool. Some of them are a little like cliche, like super like cheesy or corny. You really only connect with Adler the most. I'd say the other ones are kind of just there. And they, try to fit in different story stuff where you have to, like, there's a mission, for example, where you have to choose who you want to save in that mission. And then, whoever you don't save, obviously, passes away or is kidnapped and you don't see them for the rest of the game. and so it changes, the game. So there's that. The mission board and stuff like that, I mean, it's all pretty similar. There's like, a map up and stuff, and you select your mission that you're going to next. It's kind of cool because you can actually, and I advise people to do this, but you can go in and have conversation in like the operations room that you're in with people, and you can actually like walk, like the characters start having conversations with each other. And it's not like one or two lines. Like, for example, one of the characters from MI6, the woman in there, is having a conversation with another character about a lady that they were trying to get, and this lady from MI6, it was like literally like a 10-minute conversation between the two characters. I was just standing there listening to it, watch it happen, and she's like talking to her about this person that MI6 was trying to get, and she was kind of insinuating that the CIA might have had her, but then the CIA guy, good lord, would not say whether the CIA had him or had her. And then he's like, what, what's the big deal anyway? She like pulls her scarf down, and like her whole like neck has a scar across like the whole thing. So there's like a lot of cool shit, and then you can like find like different evidence in the room of like that kind of stuff, and they'll talk about like all these crazy times. And on the board where you're choosing your next mission, you don't just click next mission, you can also study all the evidence and look at cool stuff, which is that's kind of neat. There's trippy factor too in the campaign. It gets pretty trippy later on.
Black Ops style, I mean.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. Ronald Reagan looks like Ronald Reagan, sounds like Ronald Reagan in the game. You only see him like once.
Does he feel like Ronald Reagan?
No. Couldn't touch him. I wish. I'm just kidding. I have no fucking idea. I just hear people. I moved to this country. I hear people talk about Reagan all the time, and I know he just like won a bunch of shit in the country. But other than that, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, if you scratch the trackpad on the DualShock 5, you can actually smell him.
You can smell him. Scratch and sniff, baby. So let's talk about controller usage in the campaign. It's cool. I mean, you've got the triggers, which, I mean, those are wait for it, game changing. Said it. I feel like a douche. They are really cool.
It always sounds dumb when you explain it to someone, but it honestly does change how it feels.
Changing. It is really cool. It feels really cool with it. I don't recall using the trackpad at all. So that carries over from the PS4. And you don't use the microphone to like blow in anyone's ear or anything like that, or like blow out a wick, or it would have been funny to have like a little cupcake or something in the story, and then you go. But I don't remember using that. You don't use the motion either. So they really just take advantage of the triggers. The game looks gorgeous. There were times where like I was looking out on like there's like an Arctic kind of, well, it's it's Russia, obviously, right. And there's a part where like you're up in the mountains in Russia, and is pretty cool looking. And there's parts where you're flying around like some big heavier equipment, like some gunships and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not like you're seeing the same tree over and over again. It's pretty freaking cool, like the graphics in this game. So that was fantastic from that aspect. And I did have an issue with it, which seems to be more on the PS5 side, which we'll talk about later, but the game crashed on me, both in the multiplayer and both in the campaign. And when it crashed, my PS5 went into that great old, restoring data and all that crap, and then it eventually boots back up. But I will say I've not had that since there was another update that I think hit like last week or something, and all my games are fine. I had an issue on my PS5. Well, we'll talk about that later. It's fine. We'll talk about it later. But anyways, on to multiplayer. Do you want to? I've talked enough on story. I'll chime in on some of your multiplayer stuff.
So the multiplayer is actually pretty good. When I played the beta on PS4, I did not enjoy it at all, and I was not going to pick this game up. And we kind of picked it up a little bit on a whim, more so to play with like our Xbox friends and things. And it's just the easiest way for us to really play with them and party up with them, so we can still chat and have our stupid conversations that we have at night. again, to kind of echo what you were saying, the controller really does make this game for me. I didn't really get a good feel out of the beta, and it really felt kind of empty. And I think a lot of that was because they were waiting for this controller, and this controller has resistance in the triggers. The adaptive triggers, they're all based on the gun. Each gun does feel different. It really has a cool feel to it. And I think the amount of immersion that you get out of the game is significantly higher. Now, the multiplayer is a sniper just heaven, or a sniper hell, depending on which end of the gun you're on. It is brutal. And one of my favorite maps when we first started playing, Armada, which is the one that has the battleships and then the submarine in the middle, is now easily my least favorite map. It is very possible to spawn and instantly be shot by a sniper. And it's just there's snipers everywhere because it's practically a point and click adventure. It is so easy to snipe in this game. It's ridiculous. But it is fun. And I bash on the snipers, but I'm doing the same damn thing, so I really can't say much. But very possible, it is a lot of fun, spawn and instantly be shot by a sniper. Black Ops multiplayer. And I do want a few more maps for sure, because there's not a lot of them. And on top of that, snipers everywhere because it's practically a point and click adventure. It is so easy to snipe in this game. It's ridiculous. Tanks and things like that. There's only 3 of them. There's Armada, Cartel, and Crossroads. And they're all fairly decent except for Armada. I hate that fucking map. Well, and I wish people would stop voting for it.
Those are the maps in
Combined Arms.
Yeah, Combined Arms.
Yeah. There's I think 6 maps for regular multiplayer.
So have you played like just regular stuff like Domination and stuff on like Moscow and all that shit?
Yeah. Okay. I played all the multiplayer maps at this point, and I've played it because I really don't play much Combined Arms unless I'm playing with you, to be perfectly honest. Just because I started a little frustrating.
I mean, what level are you now in it?
Whatever level I was when we stopped playing the other night.
Okay, I'm like level 45, 46.
I think. Yeah, I'm in that same ballpark, 46, so somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing more Domination and Assault, which is, Hardpoint. I don't like Assault, but I'm playing Domination, Hardpoint, and then Combined Arms, Assault, and Combined Arms, Domination in my quick play for my playlist. But I tried out that Dirty Bomb mode as well. That's kind of interesting. It's almost battle royale-esque in a way, but way smaller scale, and also not really. It's interesting. It's like a combination of multiplayer, or your typical like Call of Duty multiplayer, and a battle royale, but you're also trying to blow up these like radiation bombs of some sort. It's kind of cool, but it's very frustrating as well because you can do all of the work to get this thing set, and if you can't detonate the bomb, somebody else can swoop right in and detonate the bomb, and you're screwed. The only reason I played it is I was trying to unlock one of the operators, and you have to like detonate a bomb 3 times or 5 times or something like that, and I have a big old 0 still, and I played like 2 or 3 matches of that. It was very frustrating. And it really relies heavily on teamwork, but it is cool. It is a neat game mode. But yeah, I'd definitely go in with buddies or somebody you can talk to in a mic or whatever. I've spent a lot of time playing some Nuketown 24/7 too.
Yeah,
so I'm happy with that. That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's a little grindy. I mean, honestly, every Call of Duty has that aspect too. But like the sniper rifle, I finally feel now like so now that I've leveled up a good chunk more over the last couple of days, like since I've played with you, I feel like I'm like really starting to get a good gun on my hands. But I mean, I think the multiplayer is great. I mean, I think the triggers on the PS5 make it everything. I mean, if I was to play this on Xbox Series X with the controller, I mean, I guess it'd be okay. Like I think it'd still be fun. I think it'd still be good. I think it'd be like a good Call of Duty game. But having the triggers definitely takes it to another level. Which obviously, this is the first time having a COD game that does this, so there's going to be a little bit of honeymooning there, right? But
right,
I think it makes
it'd be hard
difference.
to switch back for sure at this point.
I definitely don't want them to keep the water shit, the underwater stuff.
No,
at least not. It was cool at underwater. First, I think that's pretty bullshit, and it's also your visibility is pretty dumb. I mean, you've got people that'll sit up against the bottom of the ship that's all black, and then you can't see shit when you're in the water, and then they'll just snipe you off from there, and it's just kind of, I think it's just kind of dumb. Or like someone's floating underwater and they snipe you underwater, and it's like, all right. I mean, it's a video game, but all right.
Yeah, it was kind of neat at first, but now at this point, it's just frustrating because it's just constantly also, there's somebody hiding in the water somewhere.
Tanks are fucking tough.
Yeah,
which I get it. A tank is tough, but
they definitely changed that because in the beta they were easy to take down. You could really handily take one down with just a regular AR, and now it's to the point where a sniper does nothing to it. Essentially, you have to have like the special perk on for it, or the special attachment or whatever, and you can do more damage. But even then, it's still a lot.
And I mean, there's been some good fixes in quality and trying to shift a culture in the game a little bit more. With a perfect example is RPG. So you have to completely max out the level on the RPG that you get before you can use the one that's like just free RPG, like a free just quick shot RPG. You have to use one that's a tracking one, and that's great because it does two things. One is it gets people to focus more on taking down spy planes and stuff like that, which is important. Taking down gunships, working on aerial efforts, while also leveling up and getting good with your other guns so that you don't have to rely on just running around with an RPG and shooting stuff. So, but overall, good game.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if I was to rate it on our Diggity system, I mean, it's definitely a buy. Absolutely buy. And if you don't like Call of Duty, it's not going to give you, with all its new features, it is not going to feel like a different game to you. It's going to feel like any other Call of Duty, just plussed here and there. But yeah, it's a great addition to the Call of Duty family. So I definitely give it an absolute buy.
I still think I like Modern Warfare a little bit more personally, but I do enjoy this one. But I mean, the Black Ops series has kind of always been its own thing. It's always played different, and it feels. I mean, but this is a good Black Ops game. I mean, I didn't like 4, I didn't like 3, but this one is good. I would say this is the best Black Ops game since 2. So, and I really like 2. But so moving on here, I have some first impressions on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have only about 10 hours in this game so far. It does not use any of the special PlayStation features like adaptive triggers or anything like that. So that was a little disappointing, but I get it. It has some of the same pains that you kind of have in the Assassin's Creed series where traversal's actually, traversal has gotten worse in these games over the years. I think some of the earlier on Assassin's Creeds actually moved better than these. These are a little clunky. There's sometimes it's very frustrating trying to get my character to do a certain thing that I want him to do. I want you to climb down, or apparently not. It's just some odds and ends things that are kind of a pain. But overall, I really, really love this game. For all of the bad that comes with it, there's also a lot of good and a lot of cool things they've done. There's some another thing I don't like about it is they've kind of hidden some of the cooler armor and things like that in microtransactions, and some of this armor actually even adds certain perks to your character that allow you to raid easier or things like that
and stuff like that. Like it definitely helps out.
Yeah, the armor actually does make a pretty big difference. So that's not great to see. And as far as the armor you can unlock, there's still some cool armor you can unlock certainly. But
can you buy the armor at any time?
You can. But I think it scales to your level because you have to upgrade armor and things as you go, so you can kind of get it to whatever level you need it to be anyway.
Still,
so
I mean, you can buy a buff. I mean,
right. Well, there's also that, but yeah, I don't really like the use of microtransactions in this game. I don't think it's not solely cosmetic, and even if it was solely cosmetic, they definitely hid the best stuff and kept it off for DLC. But
do you think that's
overall the game plays? What's that?
Do you think that's a test by Ubisoft to see if they can do that more in more of their games, or do you think it's just like something we might see from them going forward? Regardless.
I think a lot of these companies that do these microtransactions do that. I mean, because they want to sell units. So you have
from a cosmetic standpoint, to an extent, but I mean,
right.
like having not just a cosmetic aspect, but having a buff with the cosmetic.
I think that was a big misstep, and I'm not entirely sure why they did it. If armor or that overall, like if it was a transmog system where like, oh, you just skin this over the armor you normally have type of thing, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of having certain armor that has certain perks, and then now some of that is hidden behind DLC, that's not great. It's kind of a problem, actually. But I mean, you can definitely play the game with the armor that you earn, and it's not that big of a difference, but it does make a difference to an extent. So, but overall, I mean, the combat's a lot of fun. It can be a little bit clunky, especially at first. Once you do get used to it, it works very well, though. It is very similar to Odyssey's combat system, which took me a long time to get into as well. So I'm not surprised this one's taken me a bit, but it was probably about 3 hours in when it finally clicked, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I understand decent combos and things like that. And at the beginning, you're pretty much just swinging an axe. You have a heavy attack and a light attack, and as you go, you unlock these books that actually will give you special skills, and then you can assign these skills to various different buttons. So these skills, it's like you hold down, I think it's left trigger or right trigger, and then you can access, I think it's your left up and right, or X, triangle, circle, whatever. Yeah. So it works well, but it can be a little bit clunky. But overall, the world is gorgeous. I mean, they added that new update that allows you to either play essentially in fidelity mode or performance mode, and those both work very well. And I'm gonna continue to play this game. I will probably see this one all the way through, and it's not a short game by any means.
So for as of right now, with the limited time you've put into it, it's a buy.
If you are not big on the Assassin's Creed games, or not big on that whole Viking time period type of deal, I would not say to buy it, because it's not going to change your mind about either of those things.
Is this like, so let's say someone hasn't played any of the Assassin's Creed, is this a good entry point at all, or no? Or
yeah, you could enter into it. There is some of the tie-ins back to the original Assassin's Creed, like the Ezio series and stuff. So maybe watch a video to catch up on some of that stuff. But I would say you would be able to jump in on this and not be entirely lost. Okay. You can probably piece it together, but it is kind of, they do a lot of the same things that you used to be able to do in Assassin's Creed that they got away from for a little bit, where you were like outside of the Animus and you were walking around and you could listen to like voicemails and things like that, which is cool. I'm glad that stuff has made a return. I didn't make it all the way through Odyssey, so from what I understand, there was some of that in Odyssey as well, but I never even made it there, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I think I would recommend at this point, you might as well wait for a sale, because it's an Ubisoft game and it's going to go on sale. In fact, it was just on sale.
It already has been on sale.
Right. So I would just go ahead and wait for a sale on this one, but it is a damn good game and I do really enjoy it. It does need a little bit of polish, but it's good, and it's a good Assassin's Creed game at that. So
cool. I'll give a quick Spider-Man remastered review. So I think I'm actually a pretty common scenario. I mained Xbox. I did not get to play Spider-Man when it was on PlayStation 4. And I picked up the Spider-Man Launch Legacy Ultimate, whatever the hell edition, with remastered, the DLC, and Miles Morales. And so I got to experience Spider-Man the first time through the Spider-Man Remastered. I played a tiny bit at Brody's house on the PS4, but so I love the game. I mean, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm biased. I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I mean, he's my superhero. And so, I mean, I was a little biased on that. The story's great. It's a typical Spidey comic book style story / animated weekend cartoon style. Pretty easy to grasp what's going to be coming next or happen next.
Yeah, like
very easy. But cool. I wish there was a little bit more to do with. There's no reason I can't spoil this because the game's been out for so long at this point. But the Sinister Six, I wish that there was more boss stuff going on. I mean, I just don't. You fight them. It's a really cool battle with them, but I don't know. It's just kind of left out. And then some of the side missions and stuff like that, I think get a little bit daunting, a little kind of ridiculous here and there. But there's cool stuff like landmarks and taking photos of stuff. The city looks absolutely gorgeous in the game. It's incredible how quick you can load into the game. After you unlock all of the city and swing around everywhere and you realize how much shit is going on at one time in this playable world, and then you can just go from the most northern point to the most southern point in 2.5 seconds, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And we talked about that briefly where you were fast traveling, and I was like, man, I never fast traveled in that game. I swung everywhere, and then it kind of clicked. That was because it took forever to load, so it was almost quicker for me to just swing there versus actually fast traveling.
Yeah, so I think the game's absolutely brilliant. It's great. I can't wait for them to make a Spider-Man 2. Or maybe perhaps to come up with even more DLC for Miles Morales. My goal this weekend is to jump more into Miles Morales. I have really just I honestly got 20 minutes of it into it, and that's it. Did you get through all the DLC on Remastered then? No, not yet. I think I'm still going to go back and play some of it. I just really want to see the city with all the snow, and I hear that Miles Morales has a little bit more graphical intensity to it rather than remastered. So I want to take that in a little bit more and get that going and kind of just continue off from the main story. But I've played a little bit of the first DLC, so I'm kind of going through some of that. But overall, I mean, it's an absolute buy. I think if Sony continues to do remasters of games like this that I personally missed out on for not having a PS4, they'll have an immense amount of success with people purchasing these things. Because there's a lot of people like me that were on Xbox and maining Xbox that went, dude, I'm not going to miss out on, these exclusives like that again. That's just, I can't. So I had a blast in it, and it was fantastic. Absolute buy for me.
Nice. Yeah, I loved that game as I played through it, and I that was the first game I ever platinumed because it was pretty much the reason I bought my PS4. That and God of War. So I've actually played all the way through Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I've actually almost platinumed it. I need to do a New Game Plus, which I just haven't set aside the time to do that quite yet, but I will eventually. This game's fantastic. I mean, it builds off of what Spider-Man did, and just makes it better. There's some different things that Miles Morales can do that Spider-Man can't do, and it kind of adds this new level of strategy to it, I would say. And some of the enemies that you face later in the game are actually way more difficult than the hardest enemies in Spider-Man. So you really have to make use of your gadgets and make use of your abilities and things like that. But yeah, I mean, Miles Morales is a fantastic game. It is not quite as long as Spider-Man, but I think I still had like 15 hours in this game.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could basically in my first playthrough, and got all the trophies that I could. And after I beat the story, went and did some of the extra stuff that pops up after that. So really on my New Game Plus, I don't have to do much. I mean, I can pretty much get enough activity points to unlock the new skills that I didn't have, and then jump right into it and power through the story and be done with it. But the story by itself, if you don't do any side stuff, is probably, I think we estimated it's probably somewhere around 8 hours or so. And then a lot of the extra stuff, depending on how you go about it, you probably got another 5 to 6 hours there, I'd say.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I mean, if you like the first Spider-Man, this is an absolute buy, hands down. If you're remotely interested in it, I still recommend going and playing the Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, and whether it's the PS4 version or the remastered, definitely go play it. It wasn't that long ago it came out, so if you don't want to fork out the cash to get the Ultimate or whatever, but I would just go ahead and get the Ultimate. It's like $20 more.
The
so
regular is
it's really
pretty
worth
cheap too, like the regular version of it. Yeah, I mean it's only like $29 now for the regular. It was on sale the other day.
If you want to play Miles though, you might as well get the Ultimate and play both of them at the same time. So, but yeah, it's a fantastic game, and this one is 100% a buy for me. I loved it, and they did use the adaptive triggers a little bit. It's not super excessive or anything like that. And the controller also, as you're swinging through the city, it does the classic thwip sound, which I don't ever hear because I always have a headset on anyway.
It does that in Spider-Man Remastered too.
Does it?
Like that.
But yeah.
And you're like, oh, great.
But the use of the adaptive triggers is pretty slight in this. As you're swinging through, you can feel the trigger actually kind of fight against you, and then as you get to the apex of your swing, it actually loosens up and kind of goes through. And it adds a little bit to it, but it's not like revolutionary or anything, but it is really good, and the graphics are gorgeous. The performance mode works fantastic, and fidelity mode works fantastic. Performance mode freaked me out because I'm not used to seeing that many frames, and it always looks so bizarre to me seeing that many frames per second versus what you're used to coming from an Xbox One. Not big on the frames, so this is really, really cool. But I actually played in fidelity mode the entire time, other than when I switched over just to try performance mode.
Because performance mode takes away ray tracing, right?
Yeah. So it still looks gorgeous. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the fidelity mode is just that extra bit of it looks really cool. But yeah, fantastic. Go buy it. But first play the first Spider-Man game.
Cool. And then moving on, this is going to be quite a long show.
It's lengthy.
It's a lengthy show. We always just were like, man, there's not that much news.
But I knew these reviews were going to get us at the end because once we get going on something, we just keep talking.
That's right. That's what makes us good podcasters. So, quick one on this. Let's just quickly wrap this because I mean it's really this last review is. I mean, it's a tech demo, really, at the end of the day. And that's Astro.
It's a gorgeous tech demo.
It is. It's Astrobot's Playground, which I actually had a lot of fun with it. I mean, I think it was really well done. It's a good game. It's really cool how it showcases the triggers off for the first time. I think it's a great introduction to the system and how they did it. And what's even cooler is just all of the awesome artifacts and like PlayStation nods. Like over the years, all the way down to like the TVs that PlayStation was originally making as a different company and pairing it with, which is just incredible. I mean, there's everything in this game. So the character is adorable. Obviously, we've seen him be used in VR for the VR tech demo. I've said to Brody, I think when I was playing it for the first time, because he didn't you didn't dive into it until later on, obviously, because we had our the 2-day difference at the PlayStations, but. I was like, hey, they make a full tilt game with this dude in it. I'm down to play it for PS5.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's great. I honestly think he's on the same level of like a Spyro or Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, 100%. The personalities there. I mean, all the call outs to other games, like they had like Devil May Cry and like odd games that a bunch of people wouldn't even realize were in there, right? But they had like the character or the other little bots acting it out and stuff. There's just so much personality and charm in this world that it 100% has the ability to be something like a Crash or a Spyro or what have you. I mean, it, and honestly, for a platform, it was really good, and I was surprised. I know the VR platformer, the original Astrobot, was very good as well, but this was, I was shocked because I almost like Mario wasn't level. Really. Yeah, it certainly is, and I kind of was iffy about even giving this a go because I wasn't really a diehard PlayStation fan by any means growing up. So I don't have a lot of the same nostalgia, but I do. I mean, as I was playing it, I realized I do have nostalgia for it because I had buddies that had PlayStations, and you go over and play it, and you'd have this and that, you know. So there was nostalgia for some things. I mean, not all of them by any means, but yeah, it's a fantastic little tech demo, intro to the controller, intro to, you know, having your PlayStation, and it works great. And what's even better is you can play it while another game is downloading. So that's kind of how I got into it. Was it's already pre-downloaded on your console. You want to download another game, go ahead and start this up while that's downloading and play through this. And I mean, you play one level and you'll be hooked. So it's fantastic. It's a short little game. I mean, I bet you I probably had 5 hours in it maybe, but and that's with a platinum trophy too. So there's not much to it, but boy, I loved every single minute of it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely. Do not delete it off your machine without playing it first, because it's fantastic. All right, cool. And then the last part of show, kind of, you know, we've had these systems for a couple weeks now. Want to give just a couple of bullet points each of what we, you know, some troubles that we've had with it, and kind of what we don't like and what we hope kind of changes in the future.
I really don't like my PlayStation hard resetting in the middle of playing a game. It's very concerning.
Did it do that yesterday?
No, I have not had it happen for a little while.
So there was a system update that happened, and I had an issue where like Miles Morales and like Spider-Man, none of my games would update.
Oh, yeah.
And they had updates. And I looked on Reddit, and that was a big thing. So there's a system update, and all of them updated properly. And I have yet to have any crash at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm happy with that.
My last crash, I was actually at work, and my oldest son was playing, and it hard crashed while he was playing Miles Morales. And my wife's like, so the PlayStation just shut off, and then when we turned it back on, it was saying something goofy about repairing everything. And she's like, I just hit OK, and and it worked. I'm like, oh God. But I actually had a moment where it crashed really hard during I was playing zombies. I was playing Cold War, and it crashed and went through that whole thing of, you know, repairing this, and when it shuts off like that, it actually is like you just ripped your hard drive out the back of it, essentially. Like, this thing does not like it. And so I was freaking out because all my PlayStation 4 save data and everything was on there, and I didn't have a backup for it because I actually sold my PlayStation 4 at this point too. So I had to go in, and the first thing I did was transfer all of my save data for my PlayStation 4 games over to a flash drive because that stuff is not saved on the cloud. So I now have another drive that has like Persona 5 Royal on there, and like these games that I put a lot of hours into that I don't want to lose, because I about had a heart attack when that happened. I was like, well, I'm just never going to play this game again. So, but yeah, that other than that, it's been really good for me. I really love this console. I am concerned about the triggers, which we've talked about before. I've seen a lot of people saying that they have broken triggers. I don't know.
What? Already?
Yeah, I've seen a handful of people with some broken triggers. Granted, I mean, it was on Reddit, so it was just those are getting pushed up to the top. It may not be a very common issue, but I have seen a handful of them. which is concerning. Which was something I actually had a concern about before I even got my hands on the controller.
The first time I grabbed those, and this is great. Will this work in 6 months?
Right. Which these are what, $70 controllers. So I sure hope so. And it's really hard to find these things right now anyway. So if you don't have a backup and your main controller breaks, you might be shit out of luck.
It's hard to find. It's not hard here.
Yeah.
Not where I'm at. Well, oh my God. It's like they've made 90 controllers per PS5.
I mean, for most people, I have controllers and all the accessories and stuff at my local Walmart, but as far as the consoles, no. But we do have everything else.
So I had a really long crash, like scary, like it didn't turn back on.
Oh boy! So, I'm pretty sure I turned mine on when it hard crashed.
So I have a flash drive. No, I have an external hard drive. Yeah, for a that is literally the Seagate like PS4 one. Mm-hmm. And I bought that because it was on sale one day, and I actually just wanted to use it as like a external for my PC because it's whatever, it's the same fucking thing. And I used it on the PlayStation, and I've got the PS4 games there that I've downloaded, and I went and played Cold War, and this was back on Saturday, like Thanksgiving. We were having our Thanksgiving dinner at that time, and I went to go play it after Thanksgiving dinner, and it like just crashed. I'm looking at it like, you son of a but it crashed, and I'm like, it's gonna have to do this repairing thing. And so it goes through the repairing thing, and then it goes to another screen where it's like, got to repair the external drive now. And it took like half an hour.
Oh, really?
And then it shut off, and it beeped like 3 times, and I went, fuck,
it's dead.
And then I went, right? I'm like, not knowing anything what 3 beeps mean, I'm just like, shit. Yeah. Like, it could have just went, I love you, and just died, you know? And the 3
Don't go
beeps.
towards the light.
And so then I'm like, shit. And I start pressing the power button. It's doing nothing. Nothing.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, God, don't you brick on me. So then I pull out.
Don't you die on me, you bastard.
So then I pull out the power cable at the back of it, because the fan was still spinning, black screen, nothing happening for like 30 minutes. Pull the power out, and I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna go for it, dude. We're performance search.
Oh no!
So I pull it out, put it back in.
My butthole is puckering for you right now. It's not even happening.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah.
So, and then it booted back up. Everything was fine. Went to the, the whole safety and warning screen. Then I'm in there. I hit my little icon. Boom, I'm in. But yeah, I shit my pants, dude, for like a solid. For 40 minutes of my life, I went, this is a real pandemic. This shit has hit my family now.
Oh God.
So we got it fixed out, and it seems like online a lot of people aren't having any issues anymore, but some people people are bricked. I mean, that one guy that got the preview unit, right? Before, it was like 2 days before launch day, and he's like, hey, it doesn't PlayStation anymore. It's just a brick. So that was a little interesting. I've had no controller issues. When Corey came on and talked about people saying that it was filthy on the back of it, maybe I washed my hands. In fact, I know I do. So maybe that's the issue with some people. But
mine looks okay, and I'd let my kids play it too. So yeah. I mean, I think
terrible.
There's
just some fucking disgusting people out there touching their controllers.
I ate a whole bag of Cheetos, touched my controller, and it got dirty. This is bullshit. Like,
what the hell? I'm scratching my balls, and now there's sweat on the back of my controller. What the hell is this? It's excreting oils from the plastic. No, I mean, it's definitely your fault. Wash your hands.
My wife was listening to our episode that we did with Corey, and when I was talking about the controller and I said something about the scratching the balls part, that just so happened to be when my kids got in the car with her. Well, there's that. Sorry, children. You are now scarred for life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't see the issue with that. I think there's just some really fucking gross people out there who aren't washing their hands.
God. Yeah, I
at a time where you
absolutely
should
adore
be
the
washing
thing so
your
far.
hands more. So this concerns me greatly. Imagine what, after hand sanitizer and all of this shit, we don't have to use that anymore. Or, well, we should definitely be using it. But we don't have to use it to the extent that we use it now. Can you imagine what some of these controller photos are going to look like?
Oh, good God.
I mean,
some people should just not own white controllers. Just go ahead and peel that shell off, paint that bad boy black, and call it a day.
Janelle was asking me the other day, she's like, do you want another controller for Christmas? And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to wait for them to come up with new colors.
Yeah.
I don't want 2 white ones. And it's not because I think that I'm going to get Cheeto dust on them. It's because I want a different design. I want like the camo or like, a cool blue one or a red. They always come with a red one, right?
I want a red one.
Yeah. So I want a red one too because I had the red Xbox controller. I was like, nah, I'm all right. I really wish they came out with multiple colors at the start. I think people would have bought them like crazy. But anyways, yeah. So any other stuff? Any other pains with it?
No, honestly, I've really been loving this thing so far. What?
Turning it off with a controller. Just make it easier.
Maybe
I was spoiled with Xbox and being able to, just hold the button down and go over and hit turn off. But
right,
wish it was a little easier.
It's not the end of the world, but it's not as simple as what you're used to.
I'm sure they'll do like a quality of life update, little things
Even
like
with the PlayStation 4, it was fairly easy. I mean, you still held it down, and I think you had to go down once, and then you were there.
But now you got to go like down and go all the way over.
Right.
Continue going.
It'd be nice to have like the power be earlier in that list or whatever. I mean, just something. It's a minute detail, right?
But one more thing I thought of, but I can't remember it. Dang it.
I did end up hitting. I was trying to hit the PlayStation button, and somehow I managed to hit the trackpad the other day. So that was kind of impressive on my own part, because that's a pretty decent distance in between. That's not even really a complaint. I'm just stupid.
That's a statement.
I don't know if I tried to hit it with my face or what happened. That's my
thing. Little pro tip. I mean, people may have already seen stuff now because obviously people who listen to our show are big gamers. But if you hold down the mute button for the mic and you hold it down on the controller, it'll also mute your television at the same time. It'll mute everything that's there.
I have a little PSA. The mute button, like if you have a mute control on your headset, that doesn't mute your mic. You actually have to hit the mute button on your controller.
What?
Mm-hmm. I found that out the other day.
No, my headset with the Switch mutes because
mine does not.
I've flat out done. I'm like the first time I did it, I'm like, can you hear me? When it was muted, waiting for you to say something, and it did. Well, let's talk about that too. That's the last point. Sorry, before we end this, the jack. My God, it's got the grip of a toddler. I mean, it holds nothing.
It is terrible.
No,
I pull that thing out.
They decided to make
all
a
the
Bluetooth
time.
One. No wonder it didn't come with anything for a headset, like even the shitty earbuds, and no wonder they've decided just to make a Bluetooth one.
Yeah, I mean, because their jack is absolutely terrible. Yeah, I never. Nothing. I don't think I ever once pulled the jack or the headset out of my Xbox controller. I have probably pulled it out of my PlayStation controller at least 30 times. And I've had this thing for what, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks?
And then we've had like party chats where you're like, Jeff, you're all robotic. I'm like, well, that's because the jack is half in. And then I click it and everything's all good. So,
I just need to get a Bluetooth
I'm sure they'll just do it where it's like, they'll get a better jack or something, and it'll just spontaneously be better in newer controllers that you buy.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Because that happened with the Xbox controller. So
it's a minor thing too, but it's still annoying.
Yeah, it's not great. So, anyways, guys, that'll do it for the show. If you want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, please do so at Diggity Podcast. Remember, we are going to be doing a live stream of the Game Awards, so you can watch along with us or watch the video on our YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, put in Diggity Gaming or Diggity. You'll find us, little green icon. And you're what?
Good God, that's a week from now.
Yeah.
It's a week from now.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. You're doing a Ooh. Depending upon if there's not news or not, maybe we'll just do the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's why I was emphasizing it
for audio. Okay, well, there we go. That's what we're going to do, guys. So, and then you're thinking about doing, a gameplay video on the YouTube channel, is that right?
Yeah, so I tweeted out another reason to get on there and follow our Twitter and Instagram. I put it on both, so wherever you want to follow there. But I tweeted out and posted on Instagram asking for some recommendations of what to play. So if you would like to subject me to some awful sort of game, which one of our good friends recommended, Chair Fuckers, which I did Google, and it is a real game. I will not be playing that on YouTube because that's not going to happen. But I think I'm actually going to play Doom Eternal, which I have to bounce back over to my Xbox for that. But yeah, we're going to give her hell.
Sweet. And I'm aiming to get up a video, hopefully this week, of kind of more in-depth review of the controller and kind of a deep dive into the controller and my thoughts on it and where they could go in the future with it, with accessories and little changes. So tune into that on the old YouTubes. And you can follow me on PSN, Maple Jeff. That's my name.
You can find me at Luscious Brody.
Get you some, baby. Guys, leave us a review. It helps us out a ton. Whether it's a like and a subscribe on the YouTube channel or on the audio version of the podcast, a beautiful, wonderful motherfucking review. It helps us tremendously get views on the sites. Straight up. Fucking put it out there. It helps us get featured on a ton of those podcast things with reviews. We've had some awesome reviews. I'm going to go ahead and be like that cheesy business and say that we maintain a great 5-star rating. But please don't fuck that up. But please definitely leave us a review. It helps us get noticed more. Thank you to those who have. Thank you to everyone who listens. And like I said, next week will be a little bit of a Game Awards show and kind of like, I guess, what the audio version will be like, more like reactions of what's happening in some sense, or like a companion show almost, I guess, where it's like, play this shit if you want while you watch like the Game Awards if you didn't get to watch it, and you can hear our stupid commentary. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
That would be
look, it's
wonderful.
Jeff Keighley again, and he's wearing a different suit.
Look, Jeff's still here.
Yeah. So, guys, until next time, we will see you out there on the interwebs. Thank you so much for